everybody, it's the Bulls Show and welcome back to another video. I've got a little bit of an interesting video for you guys today, ladies and gentlemen, as news has come out that the Indiana Pacers are moving towards a rebuild towards their NBA season and their future in general. So I want to talk about some of their players because I know many people have brought in that the Chicago Bulls are probably linked to some of these players, and I want to discuss the meaning behind some of these links. Who would I take on the Chicago Bulls and just their situation in general. It gives me an opportunity to talk about the Indiana Pacers, and it also gives me an opportunity to talk about some of their players and what they could mean on the Chicago Bulls if we were to acquire them. There are some pretty interesting players here that I do want to talk about, but before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and the potential to acquire some of these players. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are clearly looking for a power forward. It seems like from fans to NBA analysts, whatever the case may be, everyone is linking us to power forwards, which makes the most sense, of course, but there are some links within the Indiana Pacers franchise that the Chicago Bulls have been brought into an equation once again. And of course, as they are the team that's openly now looking for a rebuild, it looks like, let's talk about some of their players and what they could potentially be on the Chicago Bulls if they were to come here. Now, obviously, we're going to start with some of the, I guess, obvious ones first. The first one I want to talk about is Miles Turner. Miles Turner, obviously, is a player that is, I would say, fairly inconsistent, but definitely brings a lot of key attributes to the Chicago Bulls that I think we could need. For example, Miles Turner has extended his range to the three-point line, which in this day and age is perfect for the Chicago Bulls. As a power forward, if we were to play him at a power forward, he is someone that can stretch the floor. He's someone that can move his feet defensively so he can guard perimeter players. He's a very good rim protecting center as well if we were to play him in the center position. He can make a three. He can cut to the paint and do things very, very well. And he's just a very solid all-around player for the Chicago Bulls if he was to come here. Miles Turner, in my opinion, out of everybody on this team, makes the most sense for the Chicago Bulls. I sincerely hope if there is any chance we can acquire Miles Turner, granted it's not for too much, because at the end of the day, I do not want to sacrifice the team for one player. If we were to acquire him, that would be very interesting for the Chicago Bulls. It's something that would take us to the next level, could potentially put us in a conversation for a championship. Who really knows? At the end of the day, we're going to have to wait and see, but Miles Turner, in my opinion, out of everybody I'm going to talk about on this team, is probably the one that I want the most. I'm not going to hide from that, because at the end of the day, whoever acquires Miles Turner is going to be a very good team going forward, and they've acquired a very good player. So I'm very keen to see where he goes in terms of his NBA career, or if he remains on the Indiana Pacers and they maybe do a rebuild with him kept in mind. Bit of an interesting one there, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I think it is a wasted opportunity if we don't at least try to acquire Miles Turner. Not every trade that we go and pursue will be successful, but for the Bulls, I definitely think we at least need to try to go after this player. The next one that we've been linked to is Domantas Sabonis, ladies and gentlemen. He also, funnily enough, plays for the Indiana Pacers. He has been an all-star in this league before. He provides a very good post presence. He's a fantastic screener, which I think many people have been crying out for on the Chicago Bulls. We want someone that will do the screens and do them very, very well. Domantas Sabonis definitely does that for the Indiana Pacers, and he's someone that in the end is a power forward that can play really, really strongly on the Chicago Bulls as well. He makes very good offensive sense. If we're looking for an offensive-minded power forward, Sabonis is up there as one of the best power forwards offensively in the NBA. I have no questions behind it. There's a reason why he's an all-star. He was an all-star before and could potentially get to that level again, depending on the team that he goes to. Sabonis, in my opinion, does not make sense defensively, and that's the key issue that I'm going to talk about with Domantas Sabonis. At the end of the day, offensively, again, a great screener, can pick and roll, can go in the post, make some easy post plays, and maybe alongside Nikola Vucevic, offensively, it makes sense, because Vuce can stretch to the three-point line a lot more than what Sabonis does, and he can make that shot, I think, more effectively than Sabonis does, while Sabonis could be that post presence that we're looking for. Offensively, I think it makes great sense. Defensively, having two players in the starting lineup that can't guard the three-point line very well is very alarming, in my opinion, for the Chicago Bulls. All the switching that we do defensively, we won't be able to do with Sabonis on the floor, because he can't guard the perimeter as well as you'd like for a power forward. So defensively, he is someone that will not make sense for the Chicago Bulls, but will make perfect sense offensively for the team. If they're looking for an offensive-minded power forward, then maybe Sabonis is the guy to go for, ladies and gentlemen. And if that's truly what we're going for, I'll be all for it. But looking at his weaknesses defensively, knowing that he can't move his feet on the perimeter, knowing that he's not going to guard the perimeter very well, and knowing that in the end, it could be very dangerous to have someone on that team alongside a center that can't do the same, is going to be very damaging in my opinion. And defensively, I think we will get significantly worse with Domantas Sabonis than we do with a Miles Turner per se. I think Miles Turner makes a lot more sense on both sides of the ball, and Sabonis makes sense on the offensive side alone. So I would go for Sabonis only if we're looking for offense. If we're looking for defense or a well-rounded power forward, I don't think Sabonis is the one to go for. I know he's their best player. I know he's their all-star, and maybe I'm making a mistake in saying that I don't necessarily want him on this team. It's not that I don't want him, I just don't think he makes sense. So we're going to move on from that one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to talk about Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, TJ McConnell, players like that, because we have a lot of guards on this team. I mean, put it this way, we've got Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan can play at the guard position, Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Alex Caruso. We have a lot of guards on this team, put it that way. So talking about point guards and talking about shooting guards on this team doesn't make sense in my opinion when we have so many people that can play in those positions, unless we trade one of them, and the only person that's really been put in trade conversations would be Kobe White. Unless we put Kobe White in trade conversations for one of these players, then until we know for sure, I'm not going to talk about guards in terms of that team. I think at the end of the day, we just got to keep it simple, keep talking about the players and the positions that we need, and that's usually the power forward, maybe even a small forward or a center. Those are the things that I think we need more than just the guards. So I'm not going to talk about the guards in relation to this video, but maybe I'll be wrong, let me know. Someone that I do want to talk about that I don't think gets anywhere near enough of talk, and it's probably because he has been injured for the Indiana Pacers, but he's someone that I would actually like on this team. His name is TJ Warren. Now, TJ Warren, many of you would remember him from the bubble. He had a fantastic appearance in the bubble, but outside of that, he's been a relatively quiet player for the Indiana Pacers. He drops in spurts. He gets a lot of points in one night, maybe not get the same amount of points another night, but in my opinion, TJ Warren does make a lot of sense for the Chicago Bulls as well. He's someone that I don't personally feel we need to give up a whole lot to get, because he has just come back from, or he is still injured, I should say, and he probably is injured for a little bit. I'm not too sure when he comes back from injury, but whenever he does, that's definitely someone that I can look at and say, it does make sense if he wants to play for the Chicago Bulls, and if the Bulls want him. He's someone that can knock down the mid-range. He can shoot the three as well. Probably not at the best level, but he can shoot them, and he does take them. He's someone that is a very good perimeter defender in my opinion. He brings a little bit of toughness to the team, and that's something that you can never say no to in my opinion. So he's someone that I'm going to be very keen about as well. I think out of everybody on this team, Miles Turner, TJ Warren are the two players that I look at and say, these are the players that we need to pursue. I think it makes a lot of sense to go after both of them. And we'll wait and see how it goes. TJ Warren's a very interesting one, and I can't wait to see if he returns and what his future is going to be on the Indiana Pacers. I'm looking forward to it. And at the end of the day, it's a very exciting time for everybody else around the league, unless you're the Pacers. I know the Pacers fans must be very upset with this circumstance, but I think many of them will understand the situation that they're in. And losing Sabonis if they were to trade him, losing Miles Turner if they were to trade him, losing TJ Warren if they were to trade him, Malcolm Brogdon. There are so many players on that team. I'm sure not all of them are going to leave, but some of them will, and that's going to be very heartbreaking for them. But as everybody else in the league, we need to look at these opportunities and try to see if they make the most sense. And I think TJ Warren makes a lot of sense. I think Miles Turner makes a lot of sense. And someone else that I think could potentially make a lot of sense for the Chicago Bulls, and funnily enough, he's a player that has played on this team a couple of times before, Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday, in my opinion, does suit the Chicago Bulls at the moment. Of course, he's a player that we have brought in twice to the Chicago Bulls. I think he clearly loves being in Chicago, and he loves the team, and he loves the organization. But maybe it does make sense to bring him in for a third time. I mean, when he first came here, the first two times, he came as a starter. He came as a player that was going to knock down threes, play some defense, and just be a starter on a really poor team. it's a completely different situation for the Chicago Bulls now. Justin Holiday would come in, probably be the 15th or 16th man on our team if we were to trade for him. He comes in, he plays defense, he's improved defensively dramatically in my opinion, and he knocks down three-pointers for us, and he's doing it on a successful team. In my opinion, it won't take a lot to get Justin Holiday out of the Indiana Pacers. I would say a second-round pick, maybe it's a couple second-round picks. I don't know how many that we have, but it's not going to take a lot for Justin Holiday to get to the Chicago Bulls. He's not someone that has too much trade value, and I think a lot of teams could potentially look at him as a potential asset down the line to be their 15th or 16th man in their rotation. Justin Holiday, in my opinion, suits that very, very well. So he's someone else that I'd bring into this team. Again, with DeMar DeRozan potentially being in health and safety protocols, could potentially miss 10 days. I believe the Bulls are allowed to sign an extra player, which maybe could be a conversation piece for the Indiana Pacers. We take someone that doesn't have trade value for them, someone that could be very impactful on a good team, a winning team, and make some shots there for the Chicago Bulls. Those players, in my opinion, are the ones that I'm truly interested in. And if you're looking at guards, you can't turn your back on Malcolm Brogdon or Karis LeVert or TJ McConnell. If you're really looking at guards, I think there's some fantastic guards there for the Chicago Bulls. But again, I'm not going to be talking about guards in this video. I'm actually going to end this video here. Those are the players, in my opinion, that I'm very intrigued in. Miles Turner, just to recap, Miles Turner makes the most sense. I think TJ Warren is the one following that makes a little bit more sense. Sabonis makes sense offensively, but something that I'm not really interested in on the defensive end. And Justin Holiday, that has been on this team before, and I think could make a good difference as the 15th or 16th man on the team. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Nevertheless, I'm going to end this video here. To the Indiana Pacers fans, if you're watching this video and you're a bit upset, I apologize. But every team goes through this. The Bulls go through this. Philly goes through this. Pacers will go through this. Every team in the NBA will go through a rebuilding stage. It's just that time for the Indiana Pacers, and we'll see what happens multiple years down the line. If they can get better, maybe it's a short rebuild, maybe it's a long-term rebuild. Who knows? But we'll wait and see how they do. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, ladies and gentlemen. These are the players I would want from the Indiana Pacers, and we'll wait and see what can occur from that trade, if there was a trade to happen. Take care and peace.